And the air water buttons get sticky where you're pushing it and the button stays down. You gotta turn the delivery unit off, okay? If it has pressure in there, it's gonna be really hard to take this out, and then it'll shoot out and water and air and whatever will come out. So turn that off, get all the air out of it, and then you're gonna push, you gotta push that little pin out, okay? So this one, the water button's getting stuck, so we're gonna take this out to clean it. So you can get like a plastic instrument or something similar to that, where you can push on that little pin right there, and you push it in so that it pops out a little bit, okay? Then if you're gonna take out both buttons, you can slide this pin all the way out. If you're grabbing it and you can't get it out, you can grab some hemostats or something like that. Be careful not to bend this pin or damage it, or you're not gonna be able to stick it back in, okay? So we're gonna take it out a little bit. Let's just take it all the way out. When you take these buttons out, there's going to be a little spring in there, and it's got these little O-ring things on there. Don't lose the O-ring things, and don't lose that little spring inside there. So we're just gonna take that out and take that out. These buttons they're the same. They should look the same, so you can like swap them out, but or change them. I would leave it the same. You can take these springs out, but again, you got to make sure that you know which direction they go. Okay, so just make sure that these ones and this one are just like a long. And like I said, don't you lose them like I just did. But take those out, just make sure there's nothing in there. It's kind of cleaned out. You can drop that spring back in. Okay, make sure those springs do not get lost. Grab these things, make sure those O-rings aren't messed up, they're not like split or anything. And then just take a toothbrush or something, you can get some soap and water and scrub it. The O-ring has to stay where it's at. If you get it out of place, it will leak. And then when you put it back in, it'll be dripping water all over. Just kind of clean that off. You can see this one has some crap stuck in there. So we're gonna clean it off. And get that all cleaned off. And then you can put this back in. Okay, then when you put it back in, when we put them back in, you gotta put the button back in, kind of push it down a tiny bit. To get the pin back in, those buttons have to be put back into place. So you gotta push them down a little bit. And then you can start feeding that pin, and you'll feel where it's kind of like, if it's not in the right place, when you try to push the button down, it won't go in. So you got to make sure that you've got the button in the right spot. When you push this pin in. Okay, then it should slide in there fairly easy. You can kind of just push it like that, and then it's back in place. You should be good to go. The button should pop up. Okay, so you can turn this back on. Shouldn't hear it leaking. Okay, if the button is still sticky after you do that, we might need to replace the button. So we can just order more from Dentera. Okay, but see, now it's not stick. Before it was sticking where it would just keep squirting water. You should be able to let it go. It's working, air's working. You're not hearing anything leak. Nothing's dripping out of it. We're good, okay? So I would do that just kind of like, you can start recording.